The Worst Person in the World, released in 2021 and directed by Joachim Trier, is a Norwegian drama that explores identity, freedom, and the question of a woman's place in the modern world. Structured episodically with a prologue, chapters, and an epilogue, the film follows the young Julie over several years, painting the portrait of a woman who appears to have every possible opportunity, and yet seems in danger of failing precisely because of it. Julie is introduced as an intelligent and talented young woman who begins studying medicine, then switches to psychology, and eventually discovers photography. Early on, it becomes clear that she either cannot or does not want to commit to a single path. Every decision feels provisional, every new direction another chance to abandon the previous one. Alongside her professional search, she enters a relationship with Axel, a successful comic book artist. Their connection is intense, but from the beginning marked by imbalance. While Axel longs for stability, family, and long-term commitment, Julie feels constrained by these expectations. At a party, she meets Eyvind, with whom she initially forms a playful, almost innocent connection. Julie eventually leaves Axel and begins a new relationship with Eyvind, which at first feels lighter and more carefree. Yet over time, cracks begin to show here as well. The initial euphoria gives way to uncertainty, ambiguity, and the question of whether Julie is capable of committing to anything lasting. A central moment in the film is the surreal sequence in which Julie runs through Oslo while the world around her stands still. This scene visualizes her inner state, the desire to pause time, to postpone decisions, and to avoid the consequences of her own life choices. Meanwhile, the lives of others continue to move forward, most notably in Axel's later fate, as he falls seriously ill and eventually dies. His trajectory stands in stark contrast to Julie's restless movement. As the film progresses, Julie is confronted with existential questions, particularly regarding motherhood, responsibility, and the meaning of life. An unplanned pregnancy, which she ends through an abortion, marks the emotional climax of the story. In the end, we see Julie alone, working as a photographer in the film industry, seemingly calmer yet not necessarily fulfilled, while Eyvind has started a family with another woman. Julie can be read as a symbol of the modern woman, more specifically of a Western woman of whom feminism has opened up every possible path, yet who seems to lose herself within that very freedom. She grows up in a world that no longer imposes fixed expectations on her. Family, education, her partners, society as a whole offers no clear model for what a woman should do in order to find fulfillment and happiness. Julie is independent, self-determined, free from traditional roads. And yet this very boundless freedom is also her problem. Without external guidance, she becomes lost in possibilities. Her many changes of study and career are not merely signs of curiosity, but expressions of a deeper inability to commit. Every new beginning is also an abandonment. Every attempt to define herself remains incomplete. This same pattern continues in her relationships. Julie moves from one partner to another because she cannot commit here either. None of her relationships lasts long enough to become something enduring. The traditional structure of life, relationship, marriage, family is not only postponed, but increasingly avoided. This is especially evident in the symbolic treadmill scene. While Julie runs in place at the gym, one of her ex-partners appears on television, celebrating his professional success. He's moving forward, while she remains stuck. The film quietly raises a fundamental question of our time. What is a woman when all traditional answers have disappeared? What does a fulfilled life look like in the 21st century, when neither family nor career nor social expectations provide a clear standard? Julie seems unable to answer any of these questions on her own, and anyone who might offer guidance is not truly heard. The modern feminist woman, after all, does not need to listen to anyone. She's strong and independent. As a result, Julie replaces long-term structures of meaning with short-term experiences. Careers, relationships, sexual exploration, activism, art, each becomes a phase in her life, but none a stable foundation. She tries on identities without ever holding onto one. Everything remains temporary, interchangeable. The central aspect of her character is her stance on motherhood. Although she has never had children, she seems to know instinctively that this is not her path. Her decision to have an abortion becomes an expression of ultimate self-determination. Shortly afterward, she even experiences a sense of relief. There is, in this reading, a deeply rooted anti-natalist undertone, and that is interestingly not entirely left unchallenged, which is unusual for many films of the 21st century. The film also highlights a stark contrast between Julie and women of previous generations, particularly regarding motherhood. Women of earlier generations, as depicted in the film, had already built a complete life by the age of 30, family, children, clearly defined roles. This seemed to provide them with a sense of purpose that Julie so desperately seeks, yet never finds. Julie has been given the gift of life, a life full of possibilities, yet she refuses to pass these possibilities on by creating new life. Does that make her the worst person in the world? Not necessarily. Rather, one of her lovers expresses that he himself feels like that. Julie's lack of direction makes him realize that he is not the source of meaning in her life that he wishes to be. He and the family they could have built together should have been her purpose. But because he and their family isn't, he is left worthless and lost within the relationship, as though he himself were the worst person in the world.